Welcome everyone. Welcome to the replay or welcome in if you're joining in. Hello, hello. I'll give a second for people to come in. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hi, Mallory. Hello, hello. I promise this will be quick with some tips and ideas of things you can use tomorrow in your therapy room. So I promise, hello, hello. You're ready for this? Yay, Natalie. Hello, hello. Welcome. Okay. I know everyone loves shock jams, so we'll only give it another second. Okay. Hi. Okay. All right. Let me figure out how to turn this thing around. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hello. Hi, I'm Hallie Sherman from speechtimefun. I'm a blogger from speechtimefun. I'm also a TPT seller. I'm a speech pathologist in an elementary school in New York. Just a little bit about me. And I'm going to be doing monthly tips and tricks of things that you can just try tomorrow in the therapy room, things that have been working for me, just some things that I've picked up. And today I'm going to show you even some things that I've used. This tip and trick that I'm going to show today, how I use some of the items that I have just around my therapy room that I've gotten from, materials that I already have. So basically, obviously the name of my scope today is asking questions. Obviously SLPs, we're very familiar with teaching how to ask questions. We do it all the time. We teach WH questions all the time. But then what do we do after they know how to do that? Well, our kids are expected to know how to answer higher level thinking questions. Whether, every school district uses different terms. Either you're going to go by the Bloom's taxonomy, if you're going to go by open versus closed questions. Some people use the Webb's depth of knowledge. My district, we happen to use the Webb's depth of knowledge. That's what my administrators want us to use. And the teachers are being hounded to be able to use level 2 versus to 4. Well, we teach level 1. So we need to start using more level 2 to 4. And we do that anyway when we're doing comprehension questions. But I wanted to show you a little trick on how I do it. If you're not familiar with what the Webb's depth of knowledge question, I'm going to show you a quick little slide that my district provided me. I thought it was helpful. Hold on. All right, I don't know if you're familiar with this visual. I like how it just shows, it breaks it down, the exact types of questions. And then it also just gives you examples. So it just gives you little question stems, which I like. As you can see in level 1, it's all who, what, where. It's basic recall. It's very teacher driven. It's basically like who was in the story, what was in the story. And we do that all the time. But the classroom teachers are expected to be doing 2, 3, and 4. Well, we're not as familiar with that. It might not be as something that we're comfortable with, but our kids will be expected to do that. And I find they struggle so much. But one thing we are good at with as SLPs, we're really good at breaking it down. And so I like to show my kids in so many different ways how they can answer these questions in a way to say they can be successful. So one thing I use a tabletop sentence strip holder, and I'm going to show you here. Okay, here's one of them. This is a basic visual. And you see I think, because. So my students know when they come into my room, no matter what kind of activity we're going to do, once they've mastered the who, the basic WH questions, they know I think, and it's going to be their inference. I drill all the time what their inference is. It's using the clues and making smart guesses. I might walk into the classroom with a tissue and start sneezing. What do you think is wrong with me? How did you know? And then they know after the word because, they have to give their smart guess. So as you can see, I have this book. So what I do with my basic WH question kids, it's what happened and why. After they've mastered the what happened and why, we do more inferencing skills. So I found this in my therapy room, to be honest. It's what did he climb? He climbed a ladder. So I'll take this out. And why do you think? I think because. So my kids just know that to give an example. So it's just one example of what some basics starting out, how I teach my kids how to give more higher level answers. My other kids, I also just use basic, let me turn it around. Hello. So another thing I like to do is just use basic common stories that they're familiar with, like Cinderella, Three Little Pigs, even movies, Frozen. And we'll talk about those things. And we'll say, what did you think was going to happen when Elsa's glove came off? And I thought because, and they had to give the evidence from the movie. I thought that, you know, everything was going to freeze. How'd you know that? Because you know that she has a tendency to freeze things. That's something I like to do with my kids once they start mastering the WH questions to move on to the higher level. Okay, so that was one thing. So what I also like to do is when my older kids and more, once they've mastered that, let me show you another visual that I like to use. And this sentence strip holder has two sides. So one side is the basic one, and I color code it. You'll see, one second. Now here's the higher level one. I think because, and then I like to have them piggyback their answers off each other. So here's I think because, and then I agree, I disagree, and I would like to add. So my students know that when one student is answering, they all have to answer because I don't want to hear the same answer over and over. I want to, this way we can get data also for each individual student. It's not just, you know, the stronger student answering and them all just copying. So that's something I like to do with them. And they've got, it took a lot of time for them to learn that they have to listen and piggyback off of each other's answers and agree, disagree, give new evidence. And I like to show them that in a story there might be more than one clue that can give them that evidence to lead to that inference. So I'll show you some things that I've done. Hello again. Okay, so one thing I've done that you can try tomorrow is like a social skills activity. I took a piece of paper, made lines. All I have to do is cut it up, and then the kids can put it together, and it's a puzzle. And usually it has different high-level thinking questions, like what would you do if you think if you saw someone crying and carrying a report card? I thought they were failed. How do you know they failed? They failed because they were crying. They have to give the evidence. So that's something I've done in my therapy room to help work on social skills, but higher level thinking. This way I'm taking a speech goal and turning it into something that is relevant in the academic classroom. Some other things I've done, I've taken wordless picture books. I'll show you a few of my favorites. The Snowman Story. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a great story, especially for this time of year. There's no words. The kids have to guess what happened to the snowman. It's so cute. They love it. Even my older 5th and 6th grade kids, they're obsessed. They love this story. They want more stories like this because there's no words. My students are poor readers, so this really is helpful for them. So that's one book that I love to use. And any wordless picture book is great for them. I really like to start at the picture level to teach them how to answer the questions. So one thing I've used is, I don't know if you're familiar with, the super duper big picture cards. Something I have in my therapy room. Take them out. What do you think happened to this dog? How do you know? I think. And they can all give different pieces of evidence. I see the green paws. I see the green on the dog. I see the green paint. There's enough answers for all of them to answer, what do you think happened? What do you think will happen after? What caused it to happen? They go cause and effect, all different things. Another thing I like to use is, I've used YouTube. There's so many commercials out there that you can just pull up and say, what do you think, and pause it right before it tells you what the commercial's all about. I know Volkswagen has a whole bunch, AT&T, Geico, they all have those kind of commercials that don't even look anything like the, a car or a car insurance. Pause it, find a new one that maybe they haven't caught yet, and say, what do you think this commercials for? Make them guess, and then afterwards they can go back and reflect and analyze the results. Analyze. There's another key term that a principal would love. Let's see, some other things that I brought here. Trying to think. Oh, even just using games that you might have already in your therapy room, like Bubble Talk is a popular one. Taking the pictures from Bubble Talk before you even play the game. Let's go through some pictures. What do you think happened in this picture? And then they can start pulling out the sentences, and then they'll help them come out with their answers. I don't know if you're familiar with the Bubble Talk game. I posted on Instagram today the game. did it go? Sorry. The game Obstacles. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I played it today, like apples to apples and Bubble Talk. I took out, there was obstacles, everyone got tools, and they all had to put down a tool and defend their answer. And they all had to agree and disagree with, like, here's one obstacle. There's cactus. Okay? They all had tools, and they had to all put down a tool based on what they had in their hand. It might not have been a good one, but they had to put something down. Someone put down a trampoline, and she defended her answer, and she won. She put the trampoline down. Somehow she won, but she defended, and they all liked it. But it was all about using I think and because, and just drilling that. So those are just some things that I do in my therapy. Oh, there's some more. I even have. I don't know if you're familiar with the Norman Rockwell pictures. Here, I'll show you one. Here's a picture. You can find them all on Google. They're great photos you can just pull up on your computer at any time. What do you think happened to him? How do you think they're feeling? Why? Why do you think so? And give evidence. How do you think they're feeling in the background? There's so, and they all love baseball. Here's something. I just found it on Google. Just Googling Norman Rockwell. So that's another example of how I work on the higher level questions in my room and just give them that citizenship and that foundation so that they have an answer and they can build from it. And it's all about teaching them to find the clues and listening to each other's answers and building up on it. Agree, disagree. These are all terms that they're expected to know in the classroom. And I find our students are struggling with that. They don't have that vocabulary. They don't recognize when they see the word, hear the word probably or might have or should have. What do you think? Those words, they don't pick up on it, that they automatically need to use their inferencing skills. And I'm really trying to drill with them that that's what they need to do. So those are just some ideas of things that I use to work on higher level thinking questions, just so that my students are getting more experience answering the questions and have some sort of foundation, and they know how to break the question down themselves. They get familiar with the vocabulary. I have it always posted on my dry erase board. You know, probably, might have, should have, infer, predict, all those types of terms. It's something that I'm really trying to drill them. So those are just some tips and tricks that I use in my therapy room that you can maybe try tomorrow. You know, pull up some YouTube videos, pull up some Norman Rockwell photos and have them answer higher level thinking questions. You can write, if you don't have a sentence strip thing, you can write on your dry erase board or an index card or any sort of post-it visual something, just to give them that sentence stem and just keep drilling. I think, there's your inference. And then why, and using that word because. That big word is because. And I'm keep on drilling. But even just teaching them that it's all about what they see, those WH questions that we've been working on, those facts. That's their evidence, and that's just keep on, you know, drilling with them, and impress administrators and impresses their colleagues that, you know, they come back to their classroom and, hey, guess what I learned today? And it really impresses you the teachers that you work with. I'm always sending emails teaching them, you know, these are the sentence strips we're working on right now, and they appreciate that. So thank you for tuning in. I know everyone's tired, our first week back after holiday break, but I figured while everyone is motivated to lesson plan and, you know, have New Year's resolutions to be more motivated this year, I figured today would be a good time to have my January quick tips and tricks Periscope. So thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm Hallie Sherman, Speech Time Fun. Thank you so much. If you have anything you want to hear for next time, feel free to email me, contact me. Thank you for tuning in. And my archived Periscopes will be on my blog. So look for the logo that says Archived Periscopes here. And all the ideas and products and things that I discussed today will be on my blog tomorrow. But you guys are going to get some extra tips that I'm not sharing on my blog tomorrow. So, all right, thank you so much. Again, have a good night. Happy Wednesday, and I'll see you. Happy speech. Bye-bye. Take care.